and welcome to another Inspiring God's Word, and in this video I'm going to talk about godliness with contentment is a great gain from 1 Timothy 6:6. 1 Timothy is a letter from the Apostle Paul to the young Timothy to encourage him as his new role as a church leader. He warns Timothy about the godliness, those who think that godliness is something that has to mean with the financial gain in verse 5. But as a Christ followers, we have to focus on pursuing holiness in contact, in attitude, and in thoughts. As it says in 1 Thessalonians 5:18, we should choose to be content in whatever circumstances we find ourselves, as it is the will of God concerning us. Focusing the effort on pursuing the holiness in contact and attitude and thoughts, I have another wonderful story from the Bible who chose to holiness. The story of Joseph is the one heroic redemption and forgiveness in the book of Genesis. I'm going to point three main incidents that took him towards the effort of pursuing holiness and that brought him at the end with the greatest gain. The first point is the cistern. In Genesis 37:23 and 24 says, "So when Joseph came to his brother, they stripped him of his robe, the ornate robe he was wearing, and they took him and threw him into the cistern. The cistern was empty, there was no water in it." His father's love to this young man, Joseph, made his other brothers so jealousy and hated him. So they dumped him into a hole, a cistern which was empty, and sold him to a traveling Ishmaelite who took him to Egypt. Have you ever felt that your own family working against your life? But God was with Joseph because he trusted him at this moment of betrayal. The second one is the Potibar's wife. In Genesis 39:11-23 says, "One day he went into the house to attend to his duties, and none of the household servants was inside. She caught him by his cloak and said, 'Come to bed with me.' But he left his cloak in her hand and ran out of the house. When she saw that he had left his cloak in her hand and had run out to the house, she called her household servants. 'Look,' she said to them, 'this Hebrew has been brought to us to make a sport of us. He came in there to sleep with me, but I screamed. When he heard me scream for help, he left the cloak beside me and ran out of the house.' This led Joseph being thrown into the prison. But the Lord's presence with Joseph enabled him to find favor to the Potibar, his master, and the keeper of the prisoner. Have you ever felt that you've been accused for a false accusation? And have you felt the people have blamed you for their problems in life? The last one is the power in Egypt. In Genesis 41:39 and 40, it says, "Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, 'Since God has made all this known to you, there is no one so discerning and wise as you. You shall be in charge of my palace, and all my people are to submit to your orders. Only with respect to the throne will I be greater than you.'" Though Joseph went through a lot of pain and trouble in his life, he trusted God in everything he did. Joseph was gifted mainly in explaining the dreams. He was a great dream teller, and that brought him a greatest gain on wealth. But that's not a greatest gain he had. Yet we read again in Genesis 45:4 and 5 says, "Then Joseph said to his brother, 'Come close to me.' When they had done so, he said, 'I am your brother Joseph, the one you sold into Egypt. And now do not be distressed and do not be angry with yourself for selling me here, because it was to save lives that God sent me ahead of you.'" When Joseph's brothers came to know who Joseph was, they fell apart. Joseph had the power to kill them, or he could have taken revenge on them. Instead, he chose godliness. He forgave them and praised God for everything that had happened, because that was his greatest gain that he ever received. When Joseph's brothers came to know who Joseph was, they fell apart. Joseph had the chance to kill their brothers and to have taken revenge. Instead, he chose godliness. He forgave them and he thanked God for everything that had happened. That was his greatest gain. Joseph held to godliness, by trusting God and believing who he was when everything around him working against him. Joseph could have cursed God and he could have committed sin when he had the chance, but his loyalty was constant with the value of godliness. Are you questioning God for the uncertainty in your life? Are you letting your situation rule over your life? I just want to say that as God was with Joseph, so will he be with you, only if you put an effort towards godliness with contentment. It is not easy, but it's worth fighting when God is with you. You will reach a greater gain as Joseph when you put first God in your life. Thank you so much for joining and staying with me. I hope this brought you a great blessing in your life. If you have any comments or testimonies, please contact the number below, or if you are watching through any social media, please leave a comment below so that we can encourage and discuss and help each other out. I will see you next time. Until then, take care.